Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to be talking about the state of true crime, the film Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, and the word hacksaw. So let's get into it. All right. So basically, I just saw the film Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, which is a movie about Ted Bundy. In this film, Ted Bundy is played by Zac Efron. And it's a really, really interesting movie that I think really kind of shines a light on what the current state of true crime is. So true crime is a really interesting subject to me. It's a recent interest. I really was not that interested in true crime all of my life. It's definitely one of my minor interests. But I have grown an interest in true crime, and I'm really fascinated by what true crime represents and what it is. I think a lot of people are very dismissive of true crime, and it makes sense, right? Because without a doubt, I think there's just no way of getting around this. A portion of true crime viewers are really kind of glamorizing murder, right? So basically, true crime is put on by a host of different media outlets, right? And they might specialize in true crime, or they might have a true crime film. And the reality is, true crime really produces ratings. A lot of people consume true crime, right? And so one of the things is, no matter how you polish it and what your noble intents are, when you're done, you've kind of created this portrait of a murderer that gives them time and attention and some shine, right? That is the worst possible part of true crime, right? And it is there, excuse me. However, that's not all there is to true crime, right? And the other thing is, what percentage is that? Is that 3% of the body of true crime? The other thing is what I just talked about, this idea that some people are enjoying true crime for the wrong reasons. They just want to see murders. They want to hear about murders, all those kind of things, right? The other thing is, I think there are some fans of true crime who that's some percentage of their interest, right? So we talked about that worst corner of true crime, and it really is there, and it really has to be reckoned with. Like this idea that it's one of the most base forms of entertainment when it's done poorly, right? Now let's talk about the other part of it, right? So the other part of it is true crime has, without a doubt, undoubtedly helped to solve crimes, and actually there's a momentum that true crime that crimes in the future, many cold cases in the future, most likely will be solved by true crime aficionados, right? True crime fans and people who take their interest in true crime and then actually investigate real murderers and real murderers. There's two very, very clear instances of this. So Up and Vanished solved a murder that happened in Atlanta, Georgia in 2005. It was a Georgia beauty queen who was murdered. And Up and Vanished, it was a podcast that went down to that area and just started asking questions. And the interest in that case revived, actually spurred on that the murderer came forward. It's a really incredible story. And that's a situation where if true crime's spotlight had not shined on that specific instance, that murder almost certainly never would have been solved, right? Another one is Patton Oswalt, who is the voice on the Goldbergs, who is a good friend of Felicia Day, who was on King of Queens for many years, who's on AP Bio right now. He's a major television star. His wife was a major contributor to solving the murder, and actually many people think she was the primary catalyst that solved the murder of the California killer, of the Golden State Killer. Now these are two interested, and this is the exact opposite side of true crime, where true crime is incredibly valuable, right? And one of the things too is the power of the internet, the power for people to get information, to spin that across 1,000 different minds and come back with the best ideas, and then also to have, like, for instance, one of the things with all these is when there is public interest, you get 1,000 little detectives, or 100 or even 300, little detectives asking questions. They might be calling, they might be sending emails, they might be showing up at the doorstep of people, and that ability to bring just time, effort, without money is incredible. And this is really important because this is going to continue to go forward in the future. Now, this is fantastic from the perspective that there are going to be murders that are solved purely because the public decided to solve them, right? There's also this terrible, sharp, weird edge of this where the public is going to decide which murders get solved and which ones don't. And that is really a very strange future for crime and for detective work. It is really, really odd. Okay? Very, very strange. So basically, I wanted to talk today about Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, the film with Zac Efron, where he shows a period in the life of Ted Bundy, right? Now, what's interesting about this film, right? Well, this is a very good film. I really, really enjoyed this film. I thought it was excellent. And I think it's really doing something very special. Something that is really quite unique and that I really have not seen done before, okay? So what's different about this movie? Well, one, as soon as this movie was announced, the people got upset because they're like, if you have Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy, it's going to give Ted Bundy the time and attention that he so clearly sought. Well, frankly, that is absolutely true. Like, this just puts more shine on the legend of Ted Bundy, which is not a great thing, right? But the movie has a noble purpose at its center, and is trying to do something that's really quite unique. So I watched the whole film, and I thought it was excellent. It's extremely well shot. The acting is fantastic. The way it's shot, the way it establishes itself as a period piece, fantastic. Really, really couldn't have been better, right? So what's unique about it? Well, almost always when you deal with these stories of serial killers, Ted Bundy confessed to murdering 30 women, and experts think the number was even higher, okay? So with that said, basically you have this situation where when you're telling a story about a serial killer, the obvious approach is to show the murders. That's the most what people are most interested in. And frankly, it's difficult to tell these stories without showing the murders, right? And showing them in some extent. And because there are so many, often these movies will just have murder scene, it'll be murder scene, other scene, murder scene, other scene, murder scene, other scene, right? And it's exciting from a perspective of, people are interested in these terrible acts because they're so different from what they generally see in life, right? But where is this other, so what is Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile? What is it doing, right? Well, what it does is it takes a completely different frame. It frames the story in a different light. So it is specifically the story of Ted Bundy and two women who loved him. So Liz is the woman that he clearly loved the most in his life. And it was Ted Bundy's love, the woman that he truly loved the most, right? He had met her, and basically had spent time with her. He had spent time with her daughter, right? And he really liked her a lot, right? And it's this story of how for a couple of years they were together, and then when everything went south, he continued to just call her and make all these connections with her, and he was trying to convince her that he was innocent, right? And so that she would believe in him. And I think the reason why he wanted to do that was he wanted one person who didn't think he was a monster, right? Specifically that he cared about. Excuse me. So and because there were a lot of people who thought he was there were a lot of people who thought he was innocent. A lot of people who cared a lot about him, but they were kind of just in the crowd, right? And Ted Bundy did have a crowd of followers, which is pretty incredible, right? So basically, what this movie does is it shows the story of all these lies that he told Liz, right, through their entire, from the very beginning of their relationship all the way to the very end of their relationship. It also then shows the story of a woman, once Liz had abandoned Ted Bundy and had really started to turn her back on Ted Bundy and say, I don't believe your lies, as he was going through trial, Ted Bundy connected with another woman who he married on the stand in court during his own murder trial. He then conceived a child on death row, right? Which is like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, that's incredible, right? So this is the story of these two women, and I think the question is, how could you have such a person who was extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, and then there are these two women who really, really very much loved him and cared deeply about him, right? And so, and you see this in the film. So one of the biggest things is, lies. He just lied constantly. He lied to everyone, right? Now, what's interesting about Ted Bundy is he said that he was innocent for years and years and years, lied to every single person he could possibly lie to, and then at the end he just told everybody everything, right? And now this movie doesn't deal with the murders. I would say less than 5% of this film has anything to do with the murders, and the murders are very much downplayed, right? It's just Ted Bundy, the women he loved, the women who loved him. And when I was watching it, I was like, this is not good. This really very much glamorizes Ted Bundy. And why are we even... And it was slow, right? And I was like, man, this is slow. Nothing's happening. There's no murders in here. It's just a bunch of talky, right? And so it was a little bit frustrating to me, right? So then finally, I got to the point where I really was kind of writing the movie off in my own mind. But one word kind of preserved it. It absolutely preserved the movie. So at the end of the movie, Liz goes to talk to Ted Bundy, and she says, listen, why did you lie to me all this time? He's like, I didn't do anything, I'm innocent. And then she keeps pressing him, and finally she takes out a picture, right, that had been given to her by one of the detectives. It's a dead body, right, and it's just on the ground, and the person's head is missing, and you're like, whoa. And it just perfectly showed in one image, a still image that is only taking half the frame. It's not even in color, right? But it just, in one image, it shows this person Ted Bundy was an absolute monster, right? In just one image. And so Liz presses him, and she says, what happened to her head, right? And Ted Bundy says, I don't know, I'm sure she was deposited in the woods and an animal did that. And Liz is like, an animal doesn't do this, right? And she's like, what happened to her head? And she continues to press Ted Bundy, and it's like, what happened to her head? And finally, Ted Bundy, they're in a prison, and so they're on either side of the glass, and they're on either side of the glass, and basically they have phones that they're talking to each other. And finally, he puts the phone down, and then in the mist on the window at the bottom, he writes with his finger, hacksaw, right? And I was like, holy cows. And it was a super strong ending to the film, right? So this was pretty much right at the end of the film, and this was the punch. This was the impact of the film, right? And in one word, I was like, oh my gosh, they did it, right? So, and I think what was really was really very, very interesting about this film was they found a way to tell the story of Ted Bundy without showing murder, right? And just in a nuanced way, showing the horror of what he did without showing those murders scene by scene by scene by scene and being a murder focus. It was, and even the title of the film is is extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. And that one title just shows you, like, it's like these people, particularly these two women, they loved Ted Bundy, and they pushed aside for periods of their life, they pushed aside every single person who was telling them this person is a monster. They pushed aside evidence. They even pushed aside their own evidence. It showed in the movie that both of them had significant clues that he was a murderer, right? And it was just really incredible to see, where this movie went. And I'm excited about this film because I really think that this may be a path that can be used to show the stories of these murderers, but back away from all of this scene by scene by scene by scene murder fest that most of these movies are. And now, why is this important, right? Is this even important? This is just entertainment, right? No, that's why we're talking today. True crime is a very, very different beast. True crime isn't like fantasy. It's not like science fiction. It is a really, really different form of storytelling, and it's going to be incredibly important going forward. And the reason why is, unlike any time in history, what's happening with true crime may really, really, really significantly matter, because it's going to prompt the public, right? And it's going to be almost a feedback loop with the public. And right now, more and more, the public is deciding which cold cases are solved and which aren't. Because increasingly we're finding, if you shine the light of the public on a case, it's going to get solved. The only question that's left is, how do you deal with the issue? How do you deal with the very real issue of, specifically, what do we do with this fact that the public is choosing which cold cases are going to be solved and which cold cases will never be solved, right? And that's really different, and it's really I've really never seen anything like that. Very, very different perspective. I think the movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile is doing something new in true crime. That's my opinion. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful day.